Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast, the number one source for news, analysis, and discussion on the Detroit Red Wings, the NHL, and all things hockey. Here are your hosts, Ryan Hanna, Brad Crisco, and Evan Lopsinger.
Was the Christmas tree here last episode?
No, it was not here last episode. That's what I was going to open with, so we're going to use that now.
Okay.
That was your gift this year for both of you. You got one extra episode without the Christmas tree because my rule is December 1st. I think I could have got away with the November 30th episode because that was, post Thanksgiving, and then no one can say it's not time for the holidays anymore. So you guys really got two episodes where you didn't have to, change the studio and where we're sitting and sit in my merriment and joy.
Was that extra episode off a gift for us or you, knowing now I'm going to start playing with the tree throughout the episode?
I forgot about that. I thought I had a bad fidget habit. You can't be helped. Yeah, I have to move away all literal jingle bells away from you. They're near the top of the tree, so you should have a harder time reaching them.
That's true.
It's the holidays. In studio now as well. As you'll see, Mel has not just put up the tree, but she's adorned some of our studio set here with some little Santa hats, some festive decorations. We'll see some things coming out, but sorry guys, I couldn't hold off any longer.
That's fair. I'm impressed you waited as long as you did.
Although
I have seen the rest of your house. I don't think you waited. This was just part of the order of events.
The rest of the house is so that this could be a little bit less for you for 3 days.
It's like how a virus spreads. It took a little bit of time to get to this room.
Yeah, exactly. And next year it's going to be even worse of an affliction. Anyhow, that's not the only merriment. We get 3 Red Wings points of a possible 4 to talk about this episode, which is good. So some Red Wings hockey to talk about, some Grand Rapids Griffins hockey to talk about, some Moritz Seider praise. There's a lot of good stuff going on. So without further ado, welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast, here to talk to you about all things Detroit Red Wings hockey, the world of the NHL, and lots more. In festive mode now, I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Crisco.
I'm Evan.
This episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast is brought to you by Greenlight Lending. And Winged Wheel Podcast and Greenlight Lending are partnering to give away a WWP prize pack, including some exclusive Winged Wheel Podcast and Detroit Red Wings co-branded merch that you can't buy, you can't get anywhere else. To one listener in Michigan, text WINGS to 586-321-1888 to enter. No purchase or mortgage inquiry required. Void where prohibited. See full rules and alternate entry at greenlightlending.com/wings-giveaway. All right, on this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, we are going to be talking about the 2 Red Wings games that have happened, the wild affair against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then the last-second Showtime winner against the Seattle Kraken. Takeaways from those games, storylines about individual players, a couple of draft classes shining, especially in the Seattle game, and then a lot of Moritz Seider praise this episode, some Simon Edvinsson praise, Sebastian Cossa and Grand Rapids Griffins praise, some really good things I think to focus on, especially as I think folks are wary heading into one of the worst months for Detroit traditionally. So focusing on the positives. And then whatever else we get into before overtime. Very quickly, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. If you want to support the show, get access to benefits like our bonus overtime episodes. They record right after these main ones. We let loose, we have fun. You get bloopers, you get thoughts with Evan. It's a really good time. You also get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord, and you're automatically entered into all of our giveaways. For example, we give away 2 tickets to every Detroit Red Wings home game going directly to our Patreon supporters. So again, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. Brad, what was your tweet after the 4th goal in that Columbus game?
Oh, we're discovering what the NHL would look like if there were never goalies.
That game was 6-5 and it felt like 11-10 by the end of it.
It truly, I won't be so insulting to say it was as if there were no goalies in the nets. I'll say it looked like they were defending soccer nets.
Everything was going in, especially to start. I will say by the time you got to maybe the latter third of the game or so, you start to see some saves here and there. I thought Merzlikins especially made some bigger saves later on as I thought Detroit did enough to win that game. They lost 6-5 in a shootout, a back and forth affair where Detroit had to come back several times. It felt like a blown lead with, 90 seconds left or so at the end of the game. And then Columbus ends up winning in the shootout. We'll go over the details in a second, but the whole storyline here is, yeah, there were flaws in the Red Wings game. I think, as usual, their third pair gets caved and they're having to move around minutes down there. And yeah, you can point to individual players here and there who didn't have their best game. They scored 5 goals. They scored 5 goals and they allowed 30 shots against, 29, I think, in regulation. That should be enough for the win. Hate to say it, but that's that. As much as Talbot has stolen a game or periods in the past, that loss is on Talbot in my mind more than anyone else.
100% for the exact reason you laid out. 5 goals scored, 29 shots against. Unless your goalie is literally giving up 1 out of every 5 shots, you should win that game. But literally, he was giving up 1 out of every 5 shots, which is horrible in the NHL. And listen, I've given Gibson a lot of criticism and a lot of benefit of the doubt, but I have pointed out when sometimes you'd like to see him make a save and they were just good shots or it just couldn't happen. And sometimes he just blew it. I can't be so nice to Talbot to not give him the same level of criticism. A lot of those goals were savable. Those were not pucks that should be going in on an NHL goalie. It's not like he was getting beat constantly on one-timers backdoor or clear-cut breakaways. Yeah, he had a lot of 10-bell chances against him. Like you said, the Red Wings weren't perfect. But a lot of those goals should be stopped by even an average NHL-level goaltender.
There was a post circulating beforehand that showed the top 5 and the bottom 5 teams by team save percentage, so all their goalies combined. And the bottom 5, St. Louis, 880, the Red Wings, 878, the Habs, 877, the Oilers, 876, and the Sens, 875. And that was before the Columbus game.
Hey, at least a lot of those teams are in the Atlantic.
How terrible, right? You're like, oh, so much room to grow if they just figure this out. Yeah, same with 2 other Atlantic rivals who at any given point are or may be outpacing you. And Detroit got worse after that game. Detroit dropped below that. And they were already 4th last in the league in team save percentage. So again, it was a back and forth affair. Dylan Larkin ended up tying the game in the second period on a redirect. Moritz Seider with his 200th career point on that goal. Columbus ends up going up 3-1. And then Lucas Raymond scores on the power play from Sandin-Pellikka and Kane. And then James Van Riesmdyk with great net front play scores also on the power play from Copp and Finnie. That made it 3-3. Fantilli on the power play made it 4-3. Just everyone was scoring power play goals. And then Patrick Kane scores goal 496 from Seider and Copp. Huge moment. They needed that momentum swing, ties the game again. And then Alex DeBrincat follows it up just a couple minutes later with his 14th of the season. And Detroit goes up 5-4. Ultimately, they weren't able to hang on to that. With 90 seconds left, Columbus ties the game as, again, everything was going in. A couple of those goals I want to talk about. JVR, great net front play on the power play, sets the screen, buries the other goal. He's really come alive of late. We talked about him last episode that at least offensively, he's bringing in what the Red Wings want from their depth. He's just such a pro. You can see him put himself into situations where it's like he knows where to be. And even though he's not a burner, even though he's not going to be able to do what he used to do in his heyday, like he knows how to make an impact on the game still. And then Patrick Kane as well. Like as he's kind of gone on from his return from injury, you can see him shake off the rust, picking things up and playing with more confidence. His shot is looking a little bit more powerful again too. And he's moving around a bit better as well. You're seeing Patrick Kane have more of an impact, not just on the game, but the score sheet especially. And the theme of both of these games that we're going to talk about is those two were a big part of it, especially at pivotal moments. So good to see that 2007 draft class continue to produce. No one anticipated way back then that it would be for the Red Wings, but that's what they're doing.
I mean, again, in the spirit of when we criticize things a lot, we have to point out the positive when it flips. And the main storyline outside of goaltending this year has been how good the Red Wings core 4 is. But man, it would be nice if somebody outside of that group can start contributing on the regular. JVR and Patrick Kane are those guys right now.
Yeah.
JVR is scoring a ton in a bottom 6 role over the last 4, 5, 6 games, however long it's been. Patrick Kane is starting to look like Patrick Kane again, which isn't to say he isn't without flaws. We know his strengths and weaknesses acutely, but at least his strengths are really shining right now. And the puck on his stick, he can still operate at a high level. And he was kind of only really showing glimpses of that on the power play for most of this year. Good to see he's got that confidence and that swagger back at all points in the game. Like, and we'll talk about the Seattle game as well, but his 2 goals there, those were shots he was not taking 2-3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? He was overthinking it, double clutching it, maybe looking for a pass rather than, you know what, I think I can beat the goalie from here. And it worked and it's good. So getting those 2 guys going on the regular really does open up a lot for the Red Wings and how they can win games. I mean, final scores of each game aside, they scored 9 goals in 2 games.
On the road.
You're not doing that with just Larkin, Raymond, and DeBrincat.
Mhm.
Maybe once or twice a year they can shovel in 9 goals in 2 games, but that's not something that you can count on. But if you're getting 1 from Kane, 1 or 2 from your bottom 6, and then on top of that, you're getting your Larkin, DeBrincat, Raymond contributions, it really does add a different dimension to your team. And I'm stating the extremely obvious there, but it is game-changing for the Red Wings. Now, if they can combine that with a save every once in a while.
I think it might have been after the Columbus game, but at some point I did a quick, like, really bad, unscientific analysis on just if the Red Wings had league median save percentage on all of their games, like how many standings points of a difference would it have made by now? And like you have to make some assumptions of like, okay, if it goes to overtime, who's winning? I kind of like split the difference and gave them half of the points. And even the most ungenerous interpretation is that at this juncture in the season, like 1/3 or so of the way in, the Red Wings would be at least a few points higher in the standings. And that's a lot. Like it might not seem like a lot, but that's a lot for not being so far down the path of completion of the season. So just having league median goaltending, it changes the conversation. Does it put them at Colorado level far and away above the rest of the East? No, absolutely not. But they would have a little bit more of the margin that they've lost recently.
To your point, of all years, this is probably the most every point matters. As we sit of recording right now, the Red Wings are outside of the playoffs looking in. And as we sit right now, the Red Wings are 1 win away from being alone in first place in the Atlantic. 1 more win and they're in first right now. Now, mind you, that's not points percentage, but just going on raw points right now, they're 1 point out of the playoff spot. They are 1 point out of first in the Atlantic.
This team, as per bench rates before the Seattle game, was a top 5 offensive group in terms of expected goals for per 60 at 5-on-5. 5-on-5 play has been a bane of Detroit's existence in previous years. And in terms of expected goals, 4 per 60, a top 5 team in the league. Now, does that mean real goals? No, because one of Detroit's woes has been finishing the season. And, defending and goaltending means that they're not going to win as many games as a top 5 offensive team might usually in your eyes. But in terms of their process on the ice, especially led by their best players, like they are getting the offense they need to win games and to put points on the board. We talk a lot about the Red Wings' flaws, and I think a lot of the fan base, and us included, we fixate on the Red Wings within the context of they have sucked for the last, 10 years? And so we think of the lowest lows of these years of the Red Wings, like the Adam Ernie leading the team in terms of goals era of the Red Wings, and we assign a lot of that suckage to them. And the reality is this is now a middling to decent team by current NHL standards and the amount of parity that this league has. That means you have flaws. That means you have players that are below replacement level. But in a 32-team league where talent has been diluted and there's a big transition happening right now, this team's actually decent. They got a lot of holes. They have a lot of things that they need to fix, but there's a lot of things that are legitimately worlds better than they used to be.
Yeah, like, sure, it's better than what it's been. But then you look at the teams who are actual contenders and you're like, they have 1 hole. They have 2 holes. The Red Wings are kind of like, you have many holes. They're
High glove, 5-hole, low blocker.
5-hole.
Yeah.
Many. So, yeah, like, that's certainly an optimistic perspective on it. Like, Yeah, they're better than they used to be. That is very true.
Wow.
But
I know which one of the three of us was most annoyed by traffic today.
But still, like, you know what? If the games are entertaining, that's a big win for me. But, you know, you still look at the true contenders in this league, and the Red Wings are not in the same framework as those teams as constructed right now.
What are you talking about? They're ahead of Florida.
Well, for now.
For now. Florida's still at that one bar that they all celebrate at after the Cup. They'll all show up eventually.
Unless the cumulative hangover kills them.
It's Florida. They have the Florida man power. That's their buff by being from Florida. That's their special ability. So Detroit loses that game, but you know, you're of two minds. You're like, you let in that many goals and you still came away with a point that's decent. You were leading with 90 seconds left and you lost the game. That sucks. At the end of the day, you still have a point on the road. And then they head out west for the harder part of their road trip as they start to travel time zones against Seattle. And I'm not going to lie, 10 p.m. game against Seattle, I was like, there's no shot that this is going to be entertaining to watch these games, especially late night. And all in all, like an interesting game for the Red Wings, but I think for reasons that are funny, but also it counts, one of Gibson's better games, or I think more appropriately labeled less bad games of late.
Only gave up 3 goals.
That's a Gibson shutout, to be honest.
We take those. We're not complaining about those right now. We take those. And the Red Wings end up winning that game thanks to a late goal from Patrick Kane, his heroics as Showtime gets to 497. But a kind of a worrying game. Like the highs were high, but at some point Danielson left the game, needed help to get off the ice. He took a shot off the foot that looked like it stung that bad. Like he could not get up. The refs blew the whistle and stopped play dead in the offensive zone. And later in the game, Dylan Larkin took a puck to the face and missed a good chunk of the second period, was back out for the third, came back out with a kind of a chin guard, half quarter bubble kind of thing with his visor, and Danielson made it back to the game. So both those guys came back with that. For a second, I was like, oh God, first line center Andrew Copp, this is not going to be a fun road trip.
Every time Larkin goes down the tunnel, we make the same joke. Last time it was in person, the Nashville game where Larkin went down. I just look at it like, their season's over.
That's it.
Pack it in,
Wrap it
guys.
up.
It's been fun.
Prospect profiles. But thankfully, they both came back. So Detroit wins that game 4-3. Emmitt Finnie opens scoring as he's continued to kind of heat up here. And that was a fun goal. Power play goal.
Brian, it was a power play goal. It doesn't count.
Right. Finnie on a power play goal from Nate Danielson. Great cross-ice feed in the offensive zone. And Sandin-Pellikka, who did really well to set that play up, show off his movement and his ability as a power play quarterback as well. That is the all 2023 draft class goal.
I think the coolest thing about that goal is the fact that it was 3 rookies combining for a goal and both assists, all to true rookies. First time it's happened this season, and probably first time it's happened in a long time.
Yeah, that's a question for Prashanth to look up in his little computer that spits out expected goals, but
Because that can't be common.
no, even across the league. And yeah, I wonder actually how many there have been even across the NHL. And the fact that they're all from one draft class, like,
Oh man, that would be damn near unheard of.
that's extremely cool. And I wonder how many of those are like, this is 2 years out of that draft class. 2 years after, how many times has that happened?
This could be a NHL first. I feel like that's rare.
This is a classic baseball stat.
Oh yeah, you love that.
Number of combinations and criteria.
Well, one of them was, this specific height, and the other one has a parent whose birthday is in, October or something like that. You have to add in those qualifiers.
Yes.
But those guys combine, and I mentioned it. Finnie's really been warming up. I like to see his confidence offensively, even though the production isn't at like astronomical levels or even how it was to start the season. He's more engaged and more confident. And I think it was the last episode we mentioned it as well. It's like he's not just sitting there trying to find a spot where he's not in anyone's way in the top 6. He's taking more of an active role. So good to see Finnie and I mean, that wasn't a top 6 5-on-5 play. It was on the power play, but nice to see him convert. Great feed by Danielson too. And not the Red Wings' best players converting on the first goal of the game, which was huge. Brandon Montour scores on a goal with a, quick kind of flyby screen. Nice shot from Montour. Just beat Gibson. Yeah, there was this screen. How good of a screen was it? I don't know, at some point I was like, am I nitpicking here? At least that one wasn't just like a, beat straight on goal. Andrew Copp scored on a goalie, and it was missed initially. It was, swept off. It looked like swept off the goal line in the ref's eyes, but it was well over the goal line. And Copp ends up scoring his second goal of the season from Edmondson and Seider. Detroit goes up 2-1. Larson scores to make it 2-2. Chandler Stevenson scores to make it 3-2. And then who else other than JVR? James Van Riesmdyk continues to turn back the clock, ties the game 3-3 from Comfort and Edmondson. That guy he's just so fun to have on your team.
He's feeling it right now for sure.
That was his third straight game with a goal and 5 in his last 6. Came down, played it perfectly, sold the pass a little bit, left the options open, and just placed the puck. He may as well have put a stamp on it and put it where it needed to be in that net.
Noted speedster. The number of goals he scores off the rush, any goals he scores off the rush surprises me, because JVR is good at a lot of things. Skating is not one of them.
No, you're right. But that's why I call him a pro. It's like he knows where to position himself and he knows where to turn on the little, burn he has. Patrick Kane's been doing a lot of that recently too. It's like, yeah, these guys aren't Emmitt Finnie, prime Darren Helm out there, but they got legs. They know the shortest path to their desired point, and they know where to position themselves and turn on the jets a little bit. Third period, Dylan Larkin returns, and I think that's when the game really tilted in Detroit's favor again. Like, back and forth affair for sure to some degree before that, but they capitalize on JVR tying it, and then Patrick Kane from Alex DeBrincat, he scores .497 with, just over 2 minutes, 30 seconds left or around there in the game, and another goal that started off the rush. DeBrincat makes a nice feed, and Kane once again steps into that kind of middle slot area and shows off his sneaky good release. I don't know that you can call it sneaky good. The guy has 497 goals in his career, but that was it for Detroit. They close out the game, and they didn't steal 2 points. I felt like they were the better team, but with how things have been going for Detroit recently, you're thrilled with that win, to walk away with that, a regulation win especially.
Yeah. Again, it's a Western Conference team, but regulation wins are the first tiebreaker. If Patrick Kane scores that exact goal 4 minutes later, it matters in the standings. And we could all sit here and go, okay, a regulation win versus an OT win, is it that important? We know from recent memory, yes. Oh, yes, is it ever?
Now, Detroit upcoming, they have Vancouver on Monday. They have the Flames on Wednesday night. And then we're going to be recording early Thursday morning. And then they have the Oilers on Thursday. So that's 3 more games. And then on Saturday, guess who they have to finish out their road trip? I've only mentioned it 5 times, so there's no shot Evan knows. So you're the only one allowed to guess.
Only mentioned it 5 times and they're on the road?
Yeah. It's not out west.
Oh, it's not out west.
Yeah.
They're on the road, eh? Chicago?
Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good guess.
497 goals for Kane. He'd have to stay hot. He'd have to be like JVR level hot. But
well, that's difficult to achieve.
I think Red Wings fans would love nothing more than 500 to be against Chicago. I think Chicago fans would love nothing more than for 500 to be against Chicago. And I think Patrick Kane would love absolutely nothing more than goal number 500 to be against Chicago at the United Center. Like,
question, will the Red Wings all leave the bench when he scores 500?
Yes.
Yes, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
If you do it for Pasternak's 400, you're doing it. For 500, you're bringing in a cruise missile and just blowing up a building of your choice to celebrate. Like it's a gender reveal
that's a bigger
party.
deal for the Boston Bruins because they're just not a storied franchise like the Detroit Red Wings.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more for Red Wings to get excited.
I want it, man. That's hockey poetry. We deserve to have that called by Ken and Mick as well. Like that's needs to happen.
Selfishly, I want him to hold on until the game on the 17th against Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Selfishly.
The Utah Mammoth game is when,
storylines, there's no fun ones there other than it would be at home.
In terms of like probability and goal rates, yours is more likely to be that game, but
Kane strikes me as the guy who, once it's in his sights.
Yes. There are athletes who just transcend the normal motions of the sport, and you can see it's like when when victory is in sight or they have to close out, they just do things that go beyond what is reasonable or ever expected. And Patrick Kane is one of those guys. You think of like the all-time hockey greats, even go outside of hockey. You think of like Kobe, Jordan, LeBron in basketball. You think of Tom Brady in football. Sorry, Brad. You think of, I mean, for those who watch F1, think of the 2021 season where like Max and Lewis were just a minute ahead of everyone else, despite other guys having the same cars. Like there are guys who just go into a different mode, and it's not the same like late stage career for Patrick Kane, but you know he's going to be working to make this happen against Chicago.
If he gets one more goal before that Chicago game and he's going in with 498, bet the house he's getting at least 2 that night.
Honestly, if he goes in with 497,
it's possible.
When was the last Patrick Kane hat trick? He might want to re-up that number. So that's the Red Wings against the Blue Jackets and the Kraken. I don't want to call goaltending good in the next game, but at least they kept it under 4 goals this time, which was, pretty important. But a good way to start the road trip, taking 3 points, and gives you a little bit of confidence as they're about to get into a tough stretch here against Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton, those latter 2 being back-to-back. So outlook on those games for you guys?
Are you being sarcastic?
No. They're on the road. Edmonton's doing their
Quinn Hughes has a nickname for the Devils GM right now. That team is ass. Edmonton, Connor McDavid is gone in 2 years. Calgary, one of the worst teams in the league.
Are you really want to tempt fate like that?
The Red Wings tempt fate every single game. They have to put John Gibson and Cam Talbot in the net.
As you can see, things are going great right now. There's a sound, like, when a puck hits like just the heavy padding at the back of the net, just like the dull thunk. It's like not every shot that goes in and hits that part of the net is a goal that should have been stopped. But I will say, anecdotally, it feels like a lot of them are. And how many of those sounds have we heard over the last couple of games?
A lot.
A lot. We have to give credit to John Gibson here. He at least got it done against Seattle. And if that's what he needs to build confidence, and then all of a sudden you start seeing some bigger saves and more consistency, then great. One other thing I should mention about those games, I mean, we talked about the goal scorers and Kane and JVR and, the kids as well. And I also really thought that it's been a nice little stretch here for Michael Rasmussen and Elmer Soderblom. Like, especially the last game, I think we saw Michael Rasmussen play a lot more of the game where we've been looking at him over the years saying he should be playing more of the, as Evan calls it, the lunch pail, blue collar kind of game. And, chip and chase, win the puck, cut to the net, get to the dirty areas kind of thing. Elmer Soderblom making his presence known a little bit more, making more of an impact. I've just really liked in terms of guys who maybe haven't shown up on the score sheet. I think they've been more impactful and less invisible, which has been a big complaint for the Red Wings' depth of late. I've appreciated those 2 big men.
Rasmussen had a nice play against the Kraken where he chipped the puck around the defenseman. Somehow, I can't believe I'm about to say this, used his speed and created a really good chance. And yeah, Elmer's been far more deliberate with his play. He's been getting in on the forecheck, running guys over, making some good plays. Like, this is the type of depth the Red Wings need. Are they going to contribute every game? No. But if they can eat up some minutes, be tough to play against, grind down the other team's defense, like, that's going to go a long way.
Just wanted to give those guys a shout out. So good to recognize those depth efforts when they come up. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we're back, more on the Red Wings. A lot of really good stuff. First, a word from our sponsors. Moritz Seider. Norris votes as of right now. I think he's absolutely one of the leaders in terms of what he's been doing this season. But I think this is an argument that you would appreciate, Brad, because you're a big Hart Trophy should go to the guy that's most valuable to his team interpretation of that trophy. I'm not so much.
I'm not passionate about it, but that's the definition, so that's what I go by.
I'll tell you, Prashanth made a compelling argument. I'll link the article he posted today, but Moritz Seider, in terms of value to the Red Wings, is among the best in the NHL right now. Like, his numbers, whether you're looking at the eye test or otherwise, he is among not just league leaders and defensemen, among all players. Net rating leaders this season, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, I think Dom posted this today. Third is Mo Seider. Obviously, the Avalanche are leading the way with what they're doing this season, and Makar and MacKinnon are doing unbelievable things, but those two being in the same class as Mo Seider is unreal. And then you also consider the stat that behind Nathan MacKinnon only, Mo Seider is second among all skaters in goals above replacement across the entire league. Like, there is a lot to be said here for Mo Seider's season that is just not appreciated because he's not doing Cale Makar things. And I'm not saying he should get, a Norris favorite campaign right now over guys like Makar, or a Hart Trophy favorite campaign over guys who are leading the way. But he is approaching major trophy votes level performance this season. And we've talked about this on multiple recent episodes, but it can't be overstated if we tried as to how good he's been this year. And the point production is there too. What's he on, a 60-ish point pace right now? Like, that's a step up. That would be a career best. And those are elite numbers for a defenseman who does everything at both ends of the ice.
Yeah, it's the both ends of the ice that I think is going to get him a lot of attention, because I was going to reference the fact that the pretty stat is there for him now, which is point production, which you can be the best defensive defenseman in the league, but if there's not a lot of points that accompany it, you're going to get overlooked. Think of Jacob Slavin over the years. Everybody knew he was good, but he never got major award recognition because he just didn't put up a lot of points. Mo Seider this year is every bit that good defensively, arguably better, and he's putting enough points that people around the hockey world will notice. If Mo Seider did exactly what he's doing defensively and put up 30 points, nobody would notice. Like, that's the reality of it. And it sucks and it's stupid and we all hate it, but that's the reality of it. So the fact that he's going to put up 50, maybe 60 points and have these elite, arguably best defensive defensemen in the league, and the context of doing it on these Detroit Red Wings with that goaltending behind him,
Yeah.
He's going to have a lot of arguments in his favor. Now, nobody's catching Cale Makar this year. Nobody. He's on another world. Dare I say top 3 player in the league, possibly? Maybe I make that argument. I don't know why anybody would ever be so bold to make that argument, but maybe.
Let's talk again in April.
Maybe. But I think Mo is very much in the conversation to be the runner-up right now. Not saying he's the favorite to be runner-up. Obviously, Heiskanen and Werenski and a lot of other guys are having really good years, but I think
Morrissey
Mo is... Yep. I think Seider is right in the same tier as those guys.
Before the Seattle game, we posted a graphic. It was out of 62 defense pairs that played 170 minutes or more together, Edvinsson and Seider ranked number 1 with a 61.1 expected goals percentage. And not all of that is Seider. I'm not saying he's carrying Edvinsson, but I'll tell you, we've seen Edvinsson take a good step this year once he started playing with Seider, and that's no coincidence. It's also helped to elevate Edvinsson's game. Now, it's really cool to see those two play as a pair when they were drafted kind of with that in mind. Edvinsson obviously after Seider. And the Red Wings have a problem in terms of you play those two together and then down the lineup suffers a little bit, but still, they are not just really good, they are the elite of the elite in the NHL right now, and Seider is leading the way. He's the reason you can think of like a bad game or two from Seider this season is because it's so rare. Like, even on quiet nights, you look, you're like, oh yeah, he was hugely impactful. As Brad alluded to, there are so many times where he does something that's just like unsexy, doesn't show up on the score sheet. People don't always, notice it, but he makes those plays disappear before they even happen. And he helps to kind of he's not without flaws, but he helps to kind of keep the game within control in the toughest of circumstances, playing against the best players on the other team, the hardest minutes, the hardest deployments, top penalty kill, and still getting now the offensive production of a 62-point pace. Like, the guy really does do it all.
I think we give Seider a pass too if he does have a bad game, because I think he's accrued so much equity since he's
Yes.
entered the league that it's like, yeah, you could probably have an off year, and I think he would still come out ahead. But yeah, like when you talk about impact to, the value of the team, Seider's got to be one of the top players, not just defensemen in the league. Like Seider goes down, the Red Wings are in deep trouble, and thank God he never has, because without him in the lineup, we talk about forwards having to play above their, a comfortable position. The Red Wings defense would be in a very scary spot trying to fill those 25 minutes a night.
I'm not a, most valuable to your team should win the Hart Trophy over a guy who's objectively better. I think that is factoring too much of how bad a team can be in the NHL. To some degree, you do factor that in, and still, we're a far cry away from Seider being like a finalist for that voting or anything. But if it trends this way, like I think by Dom's net rating metric, he is 7th in the league behind McKinnon, Makar, Chychrun, Fox, Necas, and Robertson, ahead of guys like Theodore, Heiskanen, Eichel, Draisaitl, like Larkin. Like Dylan Larkin's having a phenomenal season, a career year. Mo Seider is right now the Red Wings' most important and best player. Lucas Raymond is having a phenomenal season. Alex DeBrincat is on pace for 40-plus goals or so. And Mo Seider is still the Red Wings' best player and most important player right now. And yeah, that Iron Man streak to start his career, you're right, Evan. Like, he's doing all this while having the best ability, which is availability. It's not a secret to Red Wings fans, and it's becoming less and less of a secret across the league, but yeah, the guy deserves serious recognition here.
I'm sure he'll get some nods as he deserves, but unfortunately, the way the voting goes, it's the sexy players, right? It's the guys who put up 100 points. Which might be Cale Makar. So it's unfortunate that that's kind of the way it goes, because if you talk about a 200-foot game for a defenseman, it's not just about points, it's about keeping them off the board as well. And I think Moritz Seider is one of the best of the league at doing that, while also starting to contribute more offensively right now. Yeah, he'd have to be in the 70-point range, at least this year, for me to do the whole go to war against Michael Bunting conversation. But at the end of the day, he's on the Detroit Red Wings and he's doing what he's doing. That's good enough for me.
No, in no world am I actually advocating for him to be, like you said, above other guys who are just doing otherworldly things right now. But it's cool to even have someone in the conversation, and not just cool, it's making a difference on the ice. And we talked about this preseason as well. Like, I think people were too quick to write Seider off as always having that 50-point cap or not being able to take another step. It's like, no, these are guys who are doing that on really terrible, god-awful versions of the Red Wings. And now that they're surrounded by some better players, like look at Seider playing with Edmondson. It's just opened him up, and he's still getting tough deployments. Look at, Raymond and Larkin, now that the offense is firing a bit more year over year over year compared to when they started. Like, they are able to do more. There are more to these players.
It takes the pressure off guys like Axel Sandin-Pellikka a little bit too, right? Like, imagine the Red Wings had Seider and then ASP was the next guy, and with all the accolades coming in, like, the magnifying glass would be even more than it already is. So this gives guys like him just a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing room. He's probably feeling the pressure stepping into the NHL, but it just lets them ease into the situation as best they can.
Yeah. I mean, credit to him. You've got 3 guys with 30 or more points right now on forward, and you're talking about a defenseman as Detroit's best player. So
that's how I knew this was your agenda item.
That's right. And I'll say, Brad's the one who opened up by talking about the unsexy things that don't get defenseman recognition because they're not points, and that was his torch he was carrying. So is that your Christmas gift to me? Advocating for defensemen?
We'll go with that.
Thank you. More positive notes. Like blindingly positive notes. We should have mentioned last episode, actually. 2 Red Wings pipeline goaltenders won goalie of the month in their respective leagues. In the QMJHL was Rudy Guimond.
That's literally like winning the Hart.
Yeah.
Everyone's a 50-goal scorer in the queue.
They make that Columbus game look like a 1-0 affair.
Yeah. The fans are leaving 10 minutes left in the third, if that's the score.
They're wondering why they didn't play 2/3 of the game.
Yeah.
and Sebastian Cossa in the AHL. And the Griffins right now are on record-setting numbers.
I think I saw it was like the third best start in AHL history for all teams.
Yep. And
That's
then
insanity.
90-year history across the entire AHL. They have the third best start with an 18-1-0-1 record, 37 points.
I'm going to eat so many hot dogs in January.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have my hat on and everything.
Unrelated, but just you thought about Grand Rapids and you're like,
it's going to be a good time.
GriffinsHockey.com/WWP if you want tickets to Windwheel Podcast Night, and you get the puck signed by a mystery Griffin as well, and it'll be a good time. But yeah, Sebastian Cossa right now, I think he had a mishandle behind the net and then had to make like a 10-bell save just to do it. I was like, I think he's doing that just to feel something right now.
Trying to play on hard mode.
Talk about flow state, like the entire Griffins, but Cossa especially. Like, think of the confidence that guy has playing in Grand Rapids right now.
Oh, he's been unreal. He's done everything you could ask of him. And I know this segment is on goalies, but it is worth mentioning how stupidly good MBN has been since he's gone down there. The points, the goals, they are happening. He's playing physical. Like, it's going well for him.
Mm-hmm. I like the confidence he showed after he was mad about getting a stick to the face, and then he had a shift after where he just played like a wrecking ball and ran into everyone on the ice. My God, that's the Austin Watson influence right there. That's what you like to see. He's not going to be a burner out there. He's not going to be Emmitt Finnie in terms of how he skates, but he can be out there and just be such a piss off to the other guys and get in their face and also be able to release the puck well and shoot and score and contribute offensively. That's the MBN we want to see, a confident version, and that's the purpose of a Grand Rapids stint. That team's fun, man. I can't wait for January. So,
and everyone was all concerned that the Griffins would be less this year, kind of boring with the Red Wings kind of poaching all the prospects. But here we are talking about the third best start in AHL history.
I know it's not how it works in the AHL, but imagine they had Finnie, Danielson, and ASP as well.
Yeah.
20-0-0.
Yeah, no kidding. Credit to Cossa though, and I know it's still early, and I know you have to try to give Gibson the time because that was the point of that acquisition. As someone who's a fan of the acquisition and like you have to go and do something, like you can't just give up on him, but I still say if you feel like you need to send a message, I'm not saying waive anyone, I'm not saying cut anyone, I'm not saying trade them, but you bring up a third goalie for a little bit, play him in a game. You can send messages that way as well. At this point, nothing is on Cossa. It's just about timing and opportunity because he's doing everything he should be down there.
Just 24, 25 more days till New Year's.
Yeah, that was the cutoff.
That was the arbitrary where if the goalies don't get it together, I'm going to start banging the table for Cossa. We've still got some time, but nothing has changed since we have said that.
All right. Let's head into some NHL news here. Elliot Friedman mentioned that the New York Rangers are looking for a power play quarterback and once again linked Eric Gustafsson of the Grand Rapids Griffins to the Rangers. The Rangers are obviously familiar with him. He's had a stint with them before, actually produced quite well for them. Fooled everyone because he came to Detroit and was not the same player, but it's one of those ones where you're like, yep, great. If they do it, they wouldn't be paying much. It would be more for the player than anything. Would I be confident that would work out well for the Rangers? Not from what we've seen in Detroit, but maybe it's like a fit and opportunity kind of situation.
I think a guy coming up from the AHL is going to be the savior for your power play quarterback position. Whether Gustafsson should be in the AHL or not. I'm not sure that's a recipe for success, but if the Red Wings are going to be battling the Rangers for a wild card spot, then I think that's the best idea that they could come up with.
I don't know. The Leafs got Troy Stecher off waivers, and he's their second most important defenseman right now.
Yeah, but the Leafs are bad.
Yes.
Slow and bad.
Troy Stecher, though. Always a big fan of Troy. The return would be not much. Yeah,
I know they'd want to do right by Gustafsson if the opportunity presents itself, but do you want to mess with that Grand Rapids team right now?
I think the former is what leads you to, like the original point there is you want to do right by Gustafsson. I think there's an understanding between the player and management to say like, I didn't come here to be in the AHL, and they say, right, you got beat out fair and square, but we're going to do right by you. You're not wrong. But I don't see them keeping him there unless he would want to stay in Grand Rapids, which, of course, why would he?
Seems like just play out Grand Rapids for as long as possible. We'll actively look for a team to get you back in the NHL. Just sit tight.
More on the Quinn Hughes saga. The latest one isn't in the kind of wishful thinking Red Wings sphere, but Elliot Friedman reporting that a conversation has at least taken place between the Devils and the Canucks to check in. And I know a lot of people might be seeing that and thinking, okay, a conversation that doesn't mean anything. Why is everyone making a big deal out of this? That doesn't get reported unless it's substantial, at least one way. Could be Vancouver wanting to start the bidding war. It could be Hughes starting to say, all right, I've made my decision. I want out. Could be a lot of things. Or it could be like just where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's going pretty far down that path. Not to say that this is going to end anytime soon, but that's a pretty good sign that New Jersey is, one, still a front runner for Hughes to go and play with his brothers. And two, that Hughes is trending away from the West Coast right now.
Yeah, but between the Devils and the Red Wings, who can literally pick him up in the next few days and just bring him home?
That's true. Come home on the team plane. It's not
You
so
want-
bad, Quinn.
You want off the West Coast, Quinn? We can solve that for you in a hurry.
We got a sweet poker game going. A couple of guys are playing Battlefield on the other side of the plane. Like, there's a lot going for you here. But it's almost disheartening. Like, I know we acknowledge it's been wishful thinking, but there's a real reality where Detroit, if it's not New Jersey, would be a favorite to land Quinn Hughes in terms of links to the player and assets they'd be able to provide. But that big, if it's not New Jersey, and New Jersey is reminding us why they are the favorites. Harder trade, though, for them to make. They are kind of money in, money out right now. Not to say they wouldn't make it work, but the funny thing, though, is when they asked Hughes about it, and he was like, well, it's not like me, Patrick Alvin, and what is it? Not like me, Patrick, and Fitzy all just jumped on a call together. It's like, oh, Fitzy, huh?
They're buddies already.
I know Fitzgerald and like there's familiarity between the families as well. Like hockey families, the hockey world is a small circle. Like everybody is linked. Do you know that Lane Lambert and Todd McLellan used to be brothers-in-law? I had no idea.
Yep, that's news to me.
Lane Lambert used to be married to Todd McLellan's sister. Ken said it on the broadcast last night.
Huh.
Divorced for a long time. And there's this whole kind of like Todd got his opportunity playing on one team because Lane left and, played with Trent Yanni. And it's this whole, you're like, wow, the hockey world is tiny.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Fitzy, it's got to be a bad time to be a Canucks fan.
It's been a bad time since they burnt the city down.
Wasn't great before that either.
It was a great city.
Not the hockey team.
No, the hockey team's bad. Yeah. Just like, imagine being the Calgary Flames and all of the tough messaging coming from ownership and management where it seems like detached from reality and fans are pissed off and everyone's like, what are we even doing here? And you're not even the worst Canadian West Coast team to have that situation where the fans are pissed at management and ownership. I don't know. Where would you kind of project it right now in terms of likelihood that Hughes goes to New Jersey versus the Fields?
40%.
40
versus the field. I'm not giving anybody else more than 20.
Right. Okay.
I mean, the only evidence we have right now is that Quinn Hughes is best friends with their GM of the New Jersey Devils. So
just with Fitzy boy.
Yeah.
This is the old Fitzmeister.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
My sweet darling.
They're member.
Tom.
They play their member together.
That's right.
We should have known. It was there the whole time.
I think we would have a lot more clarity on this in the offseason if this was a summer transaction, because then you'd start to hear the extension rumors and where he's willing to sign.
Yeah.
Right now, there could be teams out there that are contenders that are like, yeah, we don't think we can re-sign him, but God, do we need him for 2 playoff runs? So they just outbid New Jersey. I could see that. Because again, you can always say wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll sign, but GMs are forever paranoid. So it still doesn't help the value all that much.
I'd say there's probably a 30% chance he goes to New Jersey. Obviously, that one conversation is all we have to go on. So they're naturally the front runner among the other plethora of reasons why he would want to go to New Jersey. But still, trying to make a 1-to-1 trade like that with one team is really difficult. 30% even might be a little bit high.
I feel insane because I was honestly going to say 70.
Oh, okay then.
I think it's so likely to be New Jersey.
The players have more and more power now, and
I think that's why it's likely to be New Jersey.
And if another team trades for him, like let's just say the Red Wings, and he's like, "Yeah, you've got me till this contract's over," and then he's like, "I'm going to New Jersey."
Then do you entertain like a Mikko Rantanen?
Depends what's coming in return, but yeah.
I mean, it's harder because he's definitely going to New Jersey if he's trying to push his way over there, but you would have to know because the Red Wings aren't a team. They're not Colorado. They're not Edmonton. They're not a team where these next 2 years are likely to be cup competitive years. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I'm kind of like, maybe you just do it anyways, but that's actually nonsense. It's not a good way to manage your assets with how much you'd have to pay. And it's especially hard when it's like, okay, we can trade him to New Jersey and get more, or we can trade him to Detroit and get less. Well, guess which one Vancouver's going to pick, like
they can do Detroit can do the sign and trade with New Jersey and get a haul in return.
Yeah, that's 5D chess right there. Talk about trying to thread the needle. Do you guys see Philip Deneau could potentially be available from the LA Kings?
No, I didn't see that.
Guess how
Is
many?
he any good anymore?
Well, guess how many points Philip Deneau has this season?
He wouldn't be on the block if it was any more than 10.
Wow, that would be double of what he has this season.
Oof.
He has 5 points through 28 games, and when these rumors came up, it was 4 points in 27. So he's actually on a hot streak right now.
My God, he really could fit into the Red Wings bottom six.
Yeah, $5.5 million. It's about the range of the, two-way centers Detroit likes to bring in. 32 years old, and he has 2 years left on his contract.
Ugh.
His shooting percentage is 0-0, so it has to go up.
You say that.
Theoretically.
We watched we're watching Marco Kasper right now. Who's shooting better than Philip Deneau. That was an interesting one. I wonder if a team, I actually look at, kind of cup contenders. I'm like, would they want Philip Deneau for their third, fourth line?
A half retained mid-round pick, everybody would be all over that. But if you're taking him at full pop, I don't think anybody should want anything to do with that.
2 years left.
5 points in 28 games.
It's an improvement on Detroit's previous solution for second line center.
I'm always afraid it's
though?
like,
yes, statistically, he's got more than Kasper.
Oh, if we're talking about Kasper, I was going to say Copp has been better than that this year.
Yes, yeah, Copp has been.
he strikes me as the type of guy who goes to like a Florida and all of a sudden rekindles his play, and you're like, why didn't we do that?
Goes to Montreal, the motherland. He gets the buff from speaking French there and back to the motherland. He played in Montreal for a good bit. I mean, that's who traded him. But yeah, I wonder if they don't do a little bit of a reunion there. I just thought that was an interesting one. In a world where not a lot of guys are available on the trade block or free agency, that's a bigger name that I wasn't necessarily expecting.
Well, interesting is fair. Interesting doesn't always mean good, but it's interesting.
No. But usually a half point per game player. Like, that's about where he sits, and this year seems like an aberration. So if you believe it could be an aberration.
Yeah, if he had tripled his point total, he'd be a half a point per game player.
Is it an aberration, though? Or do you think this is just a fall off?
I don't think he's this bad, but I think he is no longer a half a point per game player.
I'm just trying to prime you.
Yeah, listen,
Look,
I know
Wings,
Yzerman has a type, and I know we're in the danger zone right now.
After the Red Wings have to trade one of Kasper, Danielson, and the Quinn Hughes trade, they're going to need to add center depth to their team. And they're not going to be able to go out and get a big name because they just traded so much, capital and assets. So you bring in a guy on the cheap like Philip Deneau. Nice and easy. All right. We are going to take another quick break here. And when we're back, the final segment on this episode of the Wing Wheel Podcast, back after this.
We're going to overtime.
Overtime is brought to you by our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/wingwheelpodcast. If you want to support the show, again, the bonus episodes, the giveaway, the Discord, all of that and lots more. And you allow us to do everything that we're able to do on the show. Like have a podcast Christmas tree. I upgraded one this year in case you guys didn't notice. It's a bigger one. Did you guys notice that? No, Evan didn't. He just realized.
No,
right now.
I know it's bigger.
Yeah.
Proportion of the room, just like proportion of the cap.
That's right. Yeah. Rising salary cap extends everywhere, folks.
Yes.
We have an increased, all they gave us is increased Christmas tree budget. We asked if we could upgrade from either Brad or myself, but they told Evan no. They said sadly not. All right, let's take some questions from our patrons. 155 Tater says the future of the Red Wings in Detroit is with the likes of Casper, Danielson, ASP, and Finnie, but as things stand right now, you can't really say any of them will be difference makers going forward. I'm in the very early stages of being worried that our prospect system is full of bottom six forwards and a bottom pair D. Are you guys at that point?
The phrasing there is very key because I have the same concern you do. We have talked about this concern for a while, but you are selling these guys way short. Those are not bottom six, bottom 3D, call it. Sandin-Pellikka is already playing on a second line. Finnie is already playing in the top six. Danielson looks more than capable of being a good second liner. So they are not that weak. But yes, this system is missing true superstar level talent, which is why we are so passionate about when a Quinn Hughes, when any of these Jason Robertson star level players come available, the Red Wings do not have the luxury to say no and to not pursue it. And a big reason for that is they've never picked first or second overall. They have never gotten the true superstars. And even picking outside of it, they've landed 2 stars in Seider and Raymond.
Some might say superstars.
Yeah. But that's not enough to be a cup contender. So it's got to come from somewhere else. And yeah, I agree. I don't think it's coming from the system. I think they have the world of really good middle six and middle pair options. But that is not enough with how this team is constructed.
It's definitely because of, where they've picked and not picked for sure. But it's also just a natural function of they've graduated a lot of guys. They drafted really well for a long time, and there wasn't a lot of guys in their way, so they're graduating a lot of guys. And it's just that this is a natural cycle through of that. So there was open spaces ahead. Those guys moved up. You're going to need to replenish them. And over the last few years, Detroit's not been drafting as high as like the Raymond and Seider years. So yeah, this is just kind of how things ebb and flow. I am worried about defense. I am worried about, high end forwards for sure. It's going to be tougher to come by them because they're not exactly going to be tanking anytime soon, or at least you'd hope not. So, but yeah, it's a fair thought. Adam says, how do you guys feel about Parayko if a Hughes trade doesn't come to fruition? I know he shoots right, but at the right price, I still like him. Big body, blocks shots, and would fix not having a solid D on every pair. I don't think his term plays a factor anymore with today's cap.
Cost is everything. I like the player.
Signed for 6.5 through 2029, 2030.
Yeah. I think the 6.5 is, even if he ends up being bad, is low enough that the risk is worth it. I would caution, though, he is right at that age where if the cliff's coming, it could be very soon.
You know that meme of the guy where he just kind of looks there looking disgruntled, and the next panel is him going, I guess. That's how I feel about, like, a Parayko trade would absolutely make the Red Wings better right now. But it's like everything after a Hughes pursuit is secondary to me. Which, yeah, sure, it'd work. And if St. Louis is still looking to sell, like, Parayko's a guy that you'd be looking at if you can't land like a Kyrou type, for sure. Detroit Hockey Fan 14, and this is one I want to bring up because I think Ozzy deserves his flowers here, but he says, I think Osgood has been awesome on the road trip broadcast with Ken this season. What are your thoughts? I've loved how Ozzy's grown as a broadcaster. He's been great.
He's so good. It's nice that you can get, we talk about consistency from the team. It's nice when you can get consistency from the broadcast as well. Ken and Mick have legends forever, but getting more personalities in there.
Yeah, it's great.
It's more entertainment.
It's nice to have the goaltending insights too.
Poor Ozzy on that front this year.
Yes. This next one from last name Seider, first name Mo Dickens. Almost got me. Says, hey guys, longtime hater, first time commenter here. Thank you for your support. For joining the Dub Club. Says, now that we're a couple months into the season, who's our way too early season MVP? Do we give it to Ben Sherratt for being the only player to consistently give a shit?
Hell yeah.
Well, I don't know. JVR is giving him a good run for his money. In a world where Raymond and Larkin and DeBrincat are playing how they are, it's still Seider in my mind.
Oh, it's definitely Seider. I don't think there's a debate for it right now.
Related question, Rasmussen and Petrie on a 2-0 breakaway asks, are Larkin and Raymond and Seider the best trio in the East right now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
If you had DeBrincat in there, it's definitely the best.
Core 4, yeah. I'm
Core
trying
4.
to think. So Tampa, you would have Kucherov and then one of Point or Gensel and then Hedman.
But how are they playing this season?
Yeah, I think Detroit's ahead of them.
Braden Point has 3 goals and 8 assists this season.
Really?
That's Team Canada lock Braden Point for you.
Wow.
21 games.
Everybody on Florida's hurt. Toronto sucks. Ottawa sucks. Sanderson's a stud, but
Sanderson's so good.
But nobody at that forward is comparing to Larkin and Raymond right now.
Stützle?
Right now. Montreal, not quite, although Caulfield and Suzuki have been sick.
If they're not the top, they are at least in the conversation with
I'm struggling to find a team that's Geeky, Pasternak, McAvoy, but
Crosby, Malkin.
whoever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mark Donk.
Yeah, it might actually be Detroit.
I think they're the only 3 that are like 30, 30, 30. Well, sorry, did you say Seider? He's not 30.
No. Oh, yeah. He said Larkin, Raymond, and Seider. But if you...
we have talked about how the core 4 is performing at an elite level, and it's been the rest of the team that's been the problem. So this kind of does...
It tracks. This next one I think is more for Brad, but soon to be Evan. Samuel Soderholm says, right now I need some tips. How do I indoctrinate my son to become a Detroit Red Wings fan?
Positive reinforcement.
Negative reinforcement.
Show him the Maple Leafs and then just shake your head.
No.
Do you want to succumb yourself to this for the next 50 years?
Listen, I successfully brainwashed 2 kids into being Red Wings fans in the heart of the worst rebuild the NHL has seen outside of Buffalo. Other team scores, no reaction. Stonefit is just another play in the game. Red Wings score, high five, smiles, laughs, joking around. If you watch a game or you go to a game, really hype it up as like an event, get the kids excited, and all of a sudden it comes around and everything they remember about the Red Wings is fun and happy and good times with dad. While most games, dad's seething inside. It's tough to do, I will tell you, but it's doable.
Yeah, get the hype when things happen in real time for sure, but also lean on those Datsuk highlight reels. I think is probably like the montages of the old days.
Not even, you want them to be able to relate to the team now. Like, obviously, Mika's a little older than Hank, so she's well versed in my love and highlight watching of Datsuk and Fedorov and all that. But her favorite Red Wings of all time, Seider, Larkin, Raymond, because that's who she's been watching her whole life. So she's got that attachment to him like we had with Yzerman and Lidstrom and Fedorov.
Pretty much the same tier of player.
Right now.
Okay. These 2 are related questions and a little bit of what we were talking about before. Seider, I barely know her, says I've been pleasantly surprised by Soderblom. And Johnny Page says, my God, Rasmussen looks like a completely different player the last few games. Both want to know what could have been the catalyst for these changes.
Todd McLellan saying, hey, you see how good the Grand Rapids Griffins are doing? Would you like to help them, or would you like to start skating?
To a degree, both of those guys have carried injuries at different points this season as well. Like, I think once they have healed up, I don't know how hurt they were playing. Like, I'm sure that was part of it, but it's not fully excusing, lack of performance as well. I think a lot of it is just the natural motivation. We talk a lot about, the contract year players. Same goes for guys where they know that their jobs may be on the line and they could be on the outs.
And Todd probably reminded them of that. Negative reinforcement to Evan's point.
There you go. Last one here from Finnie's Hot and I'm Ready says, seems to me that Gibson has a hell of a time seeing through screens and getting in front of tips. He let in 3 relatively weak point shots against the Kraken, yet he's able to make impressive saves in tight or even with the puck moving east-west. How can he or the D in front of him adjust to help with these point shots? There's a goalie in the NHL who likes to have, I want to say Vasilevsky or Bobrovsky, like one of the Russian goalies, where they like to see pucks the whole way through. They're like, let the shots come in, force them to shoot from out wide, but don't get in my way.
They're also massive human beings.
Yes, yeah. They want to get into a rhythm, right? Gibson's not a small goalie. He's not out there like 5'8" or anything. Maybe that's it. Maybe you have to just clear lanes. If he struggles with screens and your body is not see-through just because you're on his team, This isn't a video game, so maybe it's about clearing the lanes, which is the complete antithesis of what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah, but that Boston game, that was some clear lanes.
Yeah, that's right. Those were clear. Anyways, build on last game. All right, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Wind Wheel Podcast. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Thank you to our Patreon supporters for, allowing us to do everything that we do. Patreon.com/windwheelpodcast if you want to support the show. And if Patreon's not for you, that's totally okay. Wherever you're getting this podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, watching us with the Christmas tree in the studio, just subscribe wherever you're getting the show. Leave a thumbs up, a rating, a review, the heart, and share it with a friend. All of those are things that really do help us out. GriffinsHockey.com/WWP if you want to come to Wind Wheel Podcast Night with the Grand Rapids Griffins. And thank you for tuning in. To our name level supporters, we could not thank you enough. Arjun Shanker, Aikfer, Martin Norberg, THL Champ, Samuel Soderholm, Icon, Glenn Brabham, Rain Dano, Below Average Ball Hockey Goalie, Sea Lion, Darb EQ, Matthew M. Rice, Bango, Hassam Al-Qassem, Asher Killian, Kaylin Wood, Alex Toger, That's What I Appreciate About You, Derek Enstam, Matt McKay, Andy Hardcore, Sam Bankson, Citizen High Five, RA, Aaron Hudson, Admiral Matt S., The Cheesebag Navy, The El Cato, Stephen Ortlieb, Jonathan Miller, Give Blood Fight Probert, DJ Denton, Carl Brutinanowski, Jay Gollum, John Ingalls, CB55, Connor Scovey, Adam Zuiza, Adam Rose, I Miss Pew Suter, Steve R., Hockeytown Matt, Mr. Kuzi, Chaotic Monkey, Craig Kibble, Eyes Are Playing Stan, Clip Clop, Nene, Podgy713, Unapologetic, Gibson, Truther, Griffin, not from Grand Rapids, Marty, Kazi, the OG13, Jeff Pridemore, Eric Hill, Butts Carlton, Best James Bond, Beer League Legend, Alec, Mark Hernandez, Slim Smitty Cards, Grand Rapids Girly, Anna Sleeman, William, Mike Asher, Chris Black, August, Brian Munn, Improved But Flawed, Chris 99 Jones, Putting on the Moritz, Trevor Centerfit, Adam, General Andy Bohan of the Cheesebag Army, Quaz, Dylan Larkin Trade Sacrifice, rated 4 out of 100 on my player card, Matt Keeler, Linda Hull, Connor Leighton, As Good As It Jingles, Jeremiah Dobo, Josh Yelton, Brad Simmons, Darren Fick, Bex, The Hodag, Daddy Pastor, Jakey Wakey, Bless My Bacon. Thank you, Reed. Commander Ben Barron of the Cheeseback Space Force, Sandin-Pellikka's Pet Pelican, Griffey Boy, JM Rhapsody, Frank Stanley, Rosie Posey, That Other Guy, Pucking, Puck, Carl, Thames, Nerno, The Hat 123, Stephen, A. Ron, Corey Prida, All Motor No Hands, Gene Sullivan, Dirty D and the Boys, James Pridemore, Upernadian, Drop the Puck, Eric Nance, Ann Stanislavski, Jim, Bellingham Massive Balls, Wings Fan in St. Louis, Scott, Johnny Page, Lucas Raymond, Cops, Bubba Gump-Lip, Trent Thorough, Grepsky, Evan Beckner, Return of Jambo, C.E. Hayes, Finny to the Rafters, Jacob Marsh, Falkness, Fight Night at the Joe, Axel's Sandy Pelican, The Octopi's Ninth Leg, Finny the Pooh, and your second favorite patron. Thank you all so very much. We will talk to you bright and early Thursday.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to visit wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you'll find links to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find ways to support the show, like Patreon, official podcast merchandise, and more. And don't forget to follow us on X at Winged Wheel Pod, at Ryan Hanna, WWP, at Brad Crisco, and at Hockeytown Evan, as well as Winged Wheel Podcast on Instagram.
This message is brought to you by Greenlight Lending. Are you facing financial red lights on your home ownership journey? Don't have money for a down payment or closing costs? Struggling with your current mortgage payment or other debt obligations? Or maybe you have a complicated situation like credit challenges or self-employment income? At Greenlight Lending, they turn those red lights green with creative mortgage solutions for purchase and refinance loans. Their team crafts personalized plans with flexible closing cost options, competitive brokered rates, and innovative loan programs tailored to your needs. Whether it's finding the right loan or guiding you through the process, they're here to help you score your home ownership goals. Let's get you out of the penalty box and into the game. Head to gogreenlightlending.com to explore solutions or call Nick directly at 586-321-1888 for your customized plan. All loans are subject to credit approval, terms, and conditions. Rates and programs vary. Contact for details. Greenlight Lending, lighting the way to your financial future. NMLS 2676683, an equal housing opportunity lender, proud sponsor of the Winged Wheel Podcast.